the stiff truth.
So you ready to do a show?
Yeah, let's do a show.
Are you sure you want to do a show today, or do you want to bitch out?
I don't know. We could just like get tanked. Maybe we just get tanked and recorded, and that's our show. Like this episode's called Getting Tanked. This episode's called Day Drinking with Scott and hashtag DadBod.
And doing this every Sunday around noon. That sounds fun. I think I like that. So welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Scott Casanova, and I got Bob with me here again. He doesn't seem to go away, and that's what we love about him. How the hell you doing, Bobby?
I am doing really well.
Nice.
The Suns are still in the playoffs, which makes it weird and exciting and new and different.
Weird. This is very true. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You know how we say on the show here and there that we're not financial advisors or anything like that. We're definitely not sports bookies either, because so far what I was calling, at least for the playoffs, is completely shot. I mean, everybody's already out. I mean, we could talk about it a little bit more later, or we can hit it right now, but I did a horrible job predicting on who was going to take it far and get to the conference finals. I don't think I have anybody, if I look correctly. No, I don't have anybody. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and that's okay. I think the Suns and the Hawks really threw a wrench in everyone's shit. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, by all accounts, we'll talk about it in a minute.
Sure.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
No worries. Hey, well, I haven't seen you in a little bit here. Of course, we took a little bit of time off for Father's Day. Did you have a pleasant day? I celebrated a little bit early, and we already talked about it kind of. So I want to hear about how your family pampered you, because I know what happened. Give me the dirt. Come on, details.
Well, I didn't have to cook breakfast, so that's a win.
Point number one.
I like that. I really didn't have to do much. It was kind of a day that was centered around me, which is, what it's supposed to be. So that was pretty cool. Got to play some video games, and no one hassled me. I just got a bunch of love and happy Father's Day all day, and it was a good day. And it's really cool because Father's Day and Jadzia's birthday are always going to be within about a week of each other, give or take a few days. And so we just kind of get to party for like mid to late June. Jadzia and Dad party all the time. So I think that's going to get more and more fun as time goes on.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks later, you got July 4th weekend. That's always going to be coming around the bend. Let me add something to what you had said, too, because I think it's a little bit different when it's not a day revolved around you. But when you played video games, they were also the best kind of playing, because it's really guilt-free playing of video games where people are actually like incentivizing you. No, please play more video games. It's your day. And you're all, yeah. Whereas sometimes that can feel maybe a little bit butting heads with some other folks in the household. I'd have to imagine, occasionally at least.
No, man.
I'm the ruler of the roost, man. No, that don't happen over here.
A little bit, because honestly though, my gaming mostly happens in the evenings. After 9. I mean, yeah, I do like day gaming and whatever, but I try to like usually focus it around the 5-year-olds kind of sleeping patterns more so. So, there's always that window when she's napping, right? And then there's she goes to bed. And then from that point forward, because I'm the one that always puts her to bed. That's my routine, right?
Right.
Dad brushes teeth. Dad gets ready. Dad, we have our good night routine between me and her. So after that point, then I'm like free, because normally I'll stay up till like 11 or 12 every night anyway. So
right, because you kind of keep your gaming to the same time as your gay porn. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
After the kids' bed.
That's when new releases on gayporn.com come out. So I try to focus that around that time.
Friday nights are huge, because that's when the real like banging new releases hit the scene, and I gotta be there for the early release. No, I love that. That's great. Well, I feel kind of silly, Bob. I'm really glad that you are an astute young man that's always got his eye on the prize, because we were literally going to kick off today's conversation with a what the fuck with the UFO report, right? Here we are, basically the end of June. We got like a half a week that's still June and nothing. And then sure enough, look what these guys did. They just kind of they went and they turned their paper in under the professor's door at like Friday night at 11:59 when it was due, Sunday morning or Saturday morning or something like that.
Well, let's do a little bit of recap for those that may have missed the few shows that we had talked about the lead up for this. So over the last several months, we've kind of sprinkled it in and like, hey, just by the way, where's that UFO report? It's supposed to be coming. It might be exciting. So
that's exactly how you said it.
back in the coronavirus relief in December, I think it was, or maybe November, whenever that came around.
It was the last one that Trump signed, right?
Yeah. So Trump had actually specifically requested that they slip in a little bit of UFO stuff in the bill, right? Let's get the UFO stuff. I want a report about UFOs. So we got with the Senate, and naturally that was a compromising piece. I'm sure it was an easy compromise because there's Democratic and Republican senators that want this info, right? So a little bipartisan info, but it was basically, let's give me a report. And I'm sure it was very language specific, as we now know the contents of the report, because it was, I want all the intelligence gathered on UFOs over the last X amount of years, and a report due to the Senate. I think it was the Intelligence Committee.
Yeah, U.S. Intelligent Community is all it really says. But yeah, essentially, I don't even know what the hell that means, really. I think we're basically looking at the Navy and the Air Force and maybe a couple other key players that are involved in this. That's what I'm thinking.
So it was let's get a report. It has to be done by 180 days of the signing of this bill, right? And so that was June-ish. So this whole time we've been kind of sprinkling around, and a few months ago it got kicked up a little bit more. It's, hey, a reminder, everyone, there's a UFO report due by June. When the fuck is it? Let's see what happens. And then, like you said, nearing the end of that 180 days, in the 170 something part of that, all of a sudden, Friday night, late in the evening, a report comes out because it's non-classified.
Now, I'll say this too, and you know it, and we talked about this. We knew this wasn't going to be some monumental bomb dropping, jaw dropping, whatever kind of, oh my God, here's all the dirt and UFOs are real. Here's little aliens. We got pictures of them hanging out with Barack Obama, that kind of shit. We knew it was going to be pretty general, on a whole. But I did think it was kind of interesting that they released it on a Friday night, and really with no announcement. You know what I mean? There was no announcement on the news or anything okay, here's the report. They just kind of snuck it out there. And that kind of speaks a little bit to me that they are trying to keep it as, I wouldn't say as quiet as possible, but they're definitely not trying to create a lot of noise about its release or anything like that.
They didn't hold a presser.
No, I mean, absolutely not.
And it's not like a little green man that they were keeping in Nevada came and got out of a limo and walked the paper up to Congress.
He's like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? They're like,
hey, I heard you guys are looking for this. I'm going to go back now. They're trying to figure my ship out. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm a pilot, so I can't help them.
And you guys are 2-3 millennia behind us on technology. So it's been a wait. It's been a wait.
How does this thing work, Blurk? I don't know, man. I just press this button and it goes forward. I don't know. I didn't make it, dude. Do you make the car that you drive? No.
No. But seriously, here's the other interesting thing too. We laughed about it prior to the show. 180 days. Clock was ticking. I don't know about you, but that's plenty of time to prepare a decent paper, right? I would imagine too, there's a plethora of just sightings in general, right, that have been reported. But I also know now from reading these little tidbits that they hardly take a lot of the sightings seriously, which I get. They want to have more of a credible and reliable source. So most of the stuff that was included that they basically reviewed were stuff that was, the witnesses were military personnel mostly, right? I'm missing something else, but it was something else and then military personnel, and that's how they could kind of take it seriously. But it's only 9 pages. It's literally a very short, not even a portion of a chapter of a Stephen King book. So that to me seems a little suspect too. But apparently there's what, 100, how many instances did they say? 144? Yeah, 144 reports. So to document that with 9 pages, I don't know. Seems a little bit of lackluster.
Yeah, so and just to kind of break that down, 80 of the 144 were recorded by other data capturing devices and mechanisms other than eyewitness. Right.
That's
So
important right there.
radar, whatever, there's something to back up that as evidence.
That's really important too, because it's basically that they can be validated by multiple sensors, right? Not just eyewitness naked eye accounts, but by other instruments and other things. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But what I thought was really interesting too, I mean, look, we've been talking about UFOs, well, probably since the beginning of time in some way, shape, or form. But as we know it, kind of modern UFOs, at least since the 1930s, 40s, right? Especially with the springboard of like stuff like Roswell. And yet they admittedly here, which I thought was something that needs to be underlined, they didn't have a process for categorizing and reporting UFOs until 2019. I just thought that was really interesting. It's like, hey, you know what? We've been seeing these things for fucking decades. We should probably put together some kind of formal reporting mechanism here so we can really understand what is what. Nah, we'll do that later. And maybe they just decided to do that. I don't know. When were the Navy videos released originally? Do you
Last
remember?
June
Oh, so
2020.
that kind of puts things in perspective. Then it looks like they finally decided they need to take this a little bit more seriously, at least from a like a observer lens or something like that, very recently. But I thought that was pretty interesting. The other thing I thought was really interesting, where is it? That there were 18 incidences and 21 reports that these things moved unconventionally beyond our comprehension of modern propulsion, things like that. Did not go with wind patterns and other things like that. That's pretty interesting, because that basically says right there that those unidentified aerial phenomenon or whatever are not traditionally man-made, right? Because we have no idea even
Right, unless
classify them.
there's our government or other governments that are making some sort of like anti-gravity human encapsulation devices that block inertia from happening to the human body, because like you said, that they're moving unconventionally, that would like splatter a human all over the wall, right, in the cockpit. They just up and go like 10 G's to the right when they're going like 6 G's straight, and that would just crush a human body unless there was something in there preventing that. Another interesting thing I saw from the report was, there was a recording of a UFO breaking the sound barrier without a sonic boom. So
Wow.
that was very interesting, right? Defying Earth physics as we know it. All right. So obviously they have some sort of device there that negated wind resistance and I guess resistance and friction, right? So that was really interesting. Also, 11 of the 144 were reported near miss collisions by the pilots. So they were checking them out, and the UFOs were checking them out too. Right back, right? Yeah. So an interesting thing is, we've seen this. I mean, anyone that's watched our good friend of the show, Sergio Sugalos, knows that not only is it aliens, but there's drawings and depictions of aliens that have gone back 10,000 years,
100%,
and petroglyphs and hieroglyphics, and so it's something that's been reported a long time. It really has hit more mainstream, it seems, since World War II, and maybe that's because atom bomb testing draws attention.
That totally makes sense. If you think about it, like who was it? It was Neil deGrasse Tyson that was on Rogan recently. Really kind of, it was a little bit upsetting with his response to, like, is there life out there? And his response, in a nutshell, paraphrasing, is like, why the fuck would they care about us? They are totally uninterested in us. We are little peon beings that have no advancement, no advanced civilization. But to counter that, you're like, well, wait, it totally makes sense that the frequency of this dramatically spikes right after we drop the atomic bomb a few times, right? Like, whoa, aliens probably out there, like, Jesus Christ, they could kill themselves, their entire planet. They could even hurt us with this. We better go see what the fuck is going on with these people. And then all of a sudden the study and of the human race, like, just jumps up dramatically as all of a sudden we actually have some weapons that could do some damage out there. That's just what I think. I think it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. And as we've been moving forward, I think we're starting to draw more interest. It's interesting that you brought up Neil Tyson deGrasse, because he's actually gave an interview yesterday about this report. It was either yesterday or Friday, but I think it was yesterday, saying that it this gives more validity to the UFOs, and the fact that military soldiers are reluctant to even report it out of fear of their careers,
Well,
right?
and
And
the same
perception.
thing with higher ranking scientists and professors have always shied away from jumping in this game for fear of ridicule or even to lose their status and their credibility with the rest of the scientific community. So there's always been probably an underreporting because of that fear, which really kind of handicaps what is really going on.
Yeah, because we're not gathering all the information, right? We're limiting
No.
ourselves. And then they also said, now instead of these grainy F-14 videos, maybe now we'll actually start getting dedicated like research projects and like HD videos, so we can really start digging into what we're seeing more. Instead, I think this, like, hopefully this will kickstart more movement towards the documentation and capturing of the data,
Yeah.
as far as starting to point satellites inward instead
Yeah.
of taking pictures of galaxies that are 13 billion light years away and trying to see how the universe started. Let's try to capture some people that are breaking our airspace regulations, see what the fuck they're here for.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping to, even though it's again lackluster and probably what some hardcore ufologists wanted to hear and everything, maybe it breaks down that stigma a little bit too of being batshit crazy if you claim that you've seen a UFO or some type of unidentified aerial object or what have you. And hopefully that comes in waves of people with more credibility coming out too and contributing and not feeling like they're going to lose a lot of just, I guess, their position right where they're at. So the other thing I thought was super interesting too, which I guess it's not super surprising, but what did it say here? Oh, yeah, most of these episodes remain mysterious according to the report because there simply isn't adequate information on hand to explain them. Then, however, there are some instances that may require additional scientific knowledge. I'll say that again, additional scientific knowledge to successfully collect on, analyze, and characterize some of them. Basically, we don't that's the government saying right there, we don't know what the fuck a lot of these things are because we simply don't have the scientific advancement to figure it out. We're behind the eight ball on what we're seeing scientifically and technologically. That is a nice way of saying that there's otherworldly shit going on that can't even comprehend yet with our modern technology. That's pretty dynamite right there. So even though the report was only 9 pages, there was still some great little takeaways here. Like you were said, giving it more validation. So I think we're going in the right direction, Bob. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm interested to see now that it's kind of now that it's out there. I mean, last year we got the Navy footage of it. This year we're now getting more documentation coming from our intelligence resources. So maybe now instead of wasting our money on God knows what, we can actually dedicate this to something that could potentially be a huge threat for us, and start getting our eyes pointed more towards our skies and seeing who the fuck's visiting us and why.
If we figure it out too, this may not be a threat. Oh, I like what you did there. My goodness. For everybody in podcast land, Bob just changed his background. What did you have before? You had the UFO kind of report, kind of cartoon looking picture. Now I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Carl Niz no,
Nasib, Nasib.
Nassib, Carl Nassib. Anyways, long short here. This guy's he's a veteran, right? He's about 5-6 years, I want to say. He's been a defensive end with the Raiders, something like that.
Yeah, let me look. He's been in the league since 2016.
Okay. Yeah. So about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, and I know NFL news is not always top of mind for everybody here, but Carl, because I have a hard time with his last name, did come out as openly gay. I believe last week. I think it came out on Instagram or something like that. I want to say. Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the social media platform that he used. I just caught the story and read the headline this earlier the day that you actually hit me up about it, and I was just like, oh yeah, I heard about that. That's pretty hardcore in such a sport that carries so much machismo. I mean, we've heard about ex players coming out. We've heard about the kid that didn't
Michael
make the
Sam.
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't make the team.
It's funny you say that though, because I'm immediately I'm like reading this to Jamie, and I'm like, yeah, first active NFL player to come out as openly gay. And Jamie's like, wait, no. What about that guy? I was like, no. See, he got drafted. They made a real big stink about it during that. He like made out with his boyfriend, like when he got the call and everything, which was very, very cute. But he didn't make a team, which kind of, you can't really say you're the first active player if you aren't on an active roster. So technicality, Michael Sam, you're out. Carl's in as the number one. Now, admittingly, we are still at a spot where this kind of stuff is very newsworthy, right? Because it is rare. And like you had said, it's also in a sport that is oozing with masculinity, so to speak. But hopefully we can get to a point where this is just a passing comment and nobody really gives a shit. But right now he's a trailblazer. So got to give a tip of the cap to the young man, because I'll tell you what, I would, if I was in the closet gay in the NFL, I would have a hard time coming out. I really would, for fear of ridicule and just, jokes being made around you, being kind of, kicked around in the locker room. I have no idea what some ridiculous, what do I want to say here? Ridiculous homo. No, I lost it. I lost what I was going to say, Bob, but you know what I'm saying. Some, what is the word I'm looking for here when you're anti-gay? I'm totally lost it.
Homophobic.
There we go. Jesus Christ. I
You
need
get
another
there.
sip of my beer.
We're in this together, okay? So yeah, and that's how the locker rooms are. It's very macho in the locker rooms, at least when I played, and that was a high school level. I didn't play college ball, but I've been around athletes a lot in my life, and there's very much a lot of homophobia, and there's very much a lot of just who's more manly all the time. So there is a high level of bravery that Carl Nassib has really had to overcome, and good for him. I don't know the guy, but I'm damn proud of him, because that takes a lot of balls.
I'll tell you what. It's been so long since I've said homophobic that I didn't even know what to say. I think that's a good thing, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. Right now. I think you're surrounding yourself by good people. Sounds like you said homophobic a lot. In my case, I'm probably around a lot of family.
Yeah. No, makes sense. But yeah, really good stuff. In fact, we were so inspired, Bob, that the cocktail that we're about to go have is a little bit of tribute to the young man, isn't it?
100%. 100%. He totally inspired today's drink, and I think it's amazing. I like today's drink. I look forward to more signature drinks coming up. We made a special drink in honor of Carl Nassib. We gave it a special name, Scott.
Gay Raider. I know, guys, it's not exactly very creative, but it's blunt, it's direct, and God damn it, the drink really makes a lot of sense for the name too. So yes, all hail the Gay Raider. And you kind of glossed right over that as a signature drink. This is a really big fucking deal in my mind. I don't know about you, bro, but this was painstaking. It took us all of I think 3 or 4 different tries, right? And we had to drink all the alcohol and then try again. It's not easy work, Bob.
No, but it's fun work.
It really is. Let's go get one, and then we can tell everybody about the painstaking labor that it took to really manifest this beautiful creation of ours.
Sounds good. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yes.
Cheers, Scotty.
Oh, cheers all the way. Cheers to your tits.
Cheers for fears.
Oh, it's a great band.
Cheers for beers.
Recline that thing all the way back. Pour yourself a nice little bottle of bubbly.
Mr. Bob Dabalina. How are you, sir?
I am great. So I'm excited about this drink.
Dude,
Let's
give it a little what's up here. Look, you can't see it because of the green screen, but that's okay.
so I've got the Gay Raider here. And
You do. Look at that. You got a little umbrella.
and a couple of cherries. Yeah, a couple of cherries.
Nice work.
An
Nice work.
umbrella. I need to here, I'm just gonna
Me too. I'm gonna do the same
turn
thing
off my background real quick.
momentarily. See, there it is. I'm gonna do the same thing so you can see it. Oh,
There we go.
it did it again. Hold on. Wait a minute. And then right here, none. There we go. See, look, the naked screens. But look at that thing. Huh?
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And you're right. It does have, I was telling Jamie about it earlier. It's got the distinctive color of a beautiful tropical shallow ocean. You know what I mean? Or a gay raider, so to speak.
I'm just gonna
Very well done, Bobby. Very well done. That's all I got to say.
it's all about presentation.
It really is. Now I'm gonna have it. Did you? Oh, you already had a sip, didn't you?
I
Let me get in
did.
there.
I did. I couldn't hold back. I couldn't wait to get the Gay Raider in my mouth.
Dude. Oh, story of Bob's life. Let me tell you what.
So that is just super refreshing.
Oh, dude, this is a dangerous drink too. Now, we were joking about it. Like the idea of the drink, the flavor of the drink, it's fruity, right? And purposely so. We did that on purpose. But we also had to hold true. Being the very first signature drink of the Stiff Truth, we wanted to make sure this put your dick in the dirt, so to speak, as well. So it is quite beefy when we talk about the strength of this drink from an alcohol perspective. So I'll run through it real quick just so everybody knows. This drink starts out with a shot, 1.5 ounces of spiced rum, 1.5 ounces of Malibu rum, and then 1/2 ounce of blue curacao, 1/2 ounce of peach schnapps or triple sec, and then basically another shot of pineapple juice, equal parts pineapple juice and orange juice. Shake that bitch just vigorously. Give it the old Michael J. Fox shake.
You gotta get it frothy.
You do. Got to get it very frothy. And then as this all said and done in a tall glass with ice, top that bitch off with just a splash or two of lemon lime soda. I used Sprite. I'm not sure if you use the same thing.
Sprite, yeah.
There you go. Sprite or 7-Up will work. And then bam, you got yourself a Gay Raider. And goodness gracious, it did take a little bit of doing, but we knew with a Gay Raider, I'm just giving people a little peek behind the creative curtain here. We knew it, we wanted it to be rum based and tropical feel, right? We knew that. We thought about pirates doing raiding.
We were definitely going after rum, and then we wanted to go after pineapple and coconut, right? And then build off of that. So I think we did a great job. This is a fantastic drink. I love it. I think this is something that we're going to drink a lot. I think I can see future live shows at a bar or maybe even at our own studio or our house where we have people over and we're serving Gay Raiders.
Oh my God, it is outstanding too. Dangerous, like you said, because it is so, guys, and I'll tell you what, do not take this drink lightly in the sense of like, oh, it tastes like it kind of tastes like a pineapple cocktail, right? Like just a different kinds of juices mixed together or something like that. Oh, no. These will put your dick in the dirt. And I would
just
say
just like Carl Nassib, right? Or Nassib or Nassib. It's very fruity, but it hits like a linebacker.
Well done, Bob. Well done. Yeah. I mean, hey, this thing might look dainty. No, he doesn't look dainty, but he might act a little dainty. But you know what? He will floor you if he needs to.
I'll tell you, I had 2, and I even took a 20-minute break in between them, and I had 2 of these full front to back. Just
you pound them too. You get in there
pounded 2 Gay Raiders, and
wow, that sounds weird out of context.
Does it?
well, so, with you, not really. I mean, that's just an average Sunday afternoon.
I got to tell you, I had to slow down a little bit after that. I was like, whoa, this is really pulling me aside here. Yeah, 2 of those, 2 full glasses. Because I mean, all in all, when the drink is fully made, it's about a pint. Like you really do need
Yeah.
a pint glass. I put mine in a highball glass for presentation reasons,
Yeah.
but really I had to pour some in a different glass than I shared with Jess because there was just too much. But this is a full pint glass drink.
I do agree with you too. For presentation, I feel it should be in a highball glass or even like a large margarita style glass or something
Yeah,
like that.
that'd be fantastic.
You know what I'm
With
saying?
a bunch of fruit on it. The
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
huge novelty like Cancun drinks.
And we actually had a really good idea that I'd like to share with the Stiffies here. I don't think anybody's done this yet, but if you're going to do a gay drink, it'd be nice to have an entire banana stuck in the drink too. You know what I mean? For presentation, wink, wink.
That's right.
Oh, you know, in our excitement to rush to getting to our first signature drink, the Gay Raider. Again, very proud to say that. And we glazed over this at the very beginning, but my goodness, let's chat just for a few minutes about the NBA playoffs because things are getting really exciting right now. We are balls deep, so to speak. I love your screen changing there. I really I love it. This is even more motivation for people that are listening to the podcast to get in YouTube, see what the fuck these silly clowns are doing here. But yes, we're getting to it right now. We are in the conference finals, which very exciting stuff.
So if you see right here, the Hawks and the Bucks are tied at 1 game apiece.
Now, can I say this about that? First of all, again, just to let everybody know and go ahead and just suck it up over here on my end. The Nets are not in this game, and neither is Philadelphia. And that's who I had called to be in the conference finals on the
I thought
East.
we both had them in the conference finals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we both did. Right. I think we really fucked the pooch on this one, but this is an interesting one, right? You've got who's the kid on Atlanta
That's Trey Young.
Trey Young schooled them in game 1. He made the Bucks look like clowns. Then they had a plan for him in game 2, kind of silenced him opposed to the game before. And then Giannis fucking went off and went nutty freak style in game 2. And they won by 30, 40 points. All I know, it was like the biggest spread win that they've had. And it's actually in the record books for the playoffs too. I mean, they really annihilated them, but the games were so lopsided from 1-2. This is a fucking good series. And if I had to go ahead and just do what I do, which is fuck the pooch and just make the wrong prediction, I'm going to do it again right now. I'm going to say the Bucks take this series, but they do it in 7 games.
I hope so. I love a 6 and 7 game series.
I do too.
Because I love elimination games. It's sweeps or 1 win, avoidance of sweeps suck, so just like we're about to see in the Suns Clippers, I really think the Suns are probably going to handle business in this next game and close this one out, but we'll see. Kawhi Leonard is
he's injured, right?
Yeah, he is injured, and George stepped up and got them a win. Right. But then, as you can see from my screen, they lost by 4 again last night. So I just think that they're probably going to be done and the Suns will move on and start getting rest. And we'll see how the Bucks and the Hawks play out. But the Suns are no fucking joke, man. And everyone's like, well, they're young. They're young. Yes, they're young, but they're led by one of the most decorated veterans in league history as far as Chris Paul. So
I'll tell you what, you sure do have a hard on for Chris Paul, but I concur. I am on Chris Paul's jock too.
He's just great. And I thought he was losing a step and getting older, which he is getting older. But it seems like he just wasn't happy with his team in the last couple of years because he got traded around. He wasn't where he really wanted to be. And now it seems like he's in a contract year. He's with a young, energetic team. He really has a lot of support over there. And I think much more than he anticipated when he took that gig. Right. And it seems to really have brought him back to life at 36 years old. And he's playing lights out, man.
I agree. And I think it's a perfect recipe, right? For somebody that is aging a little bit and is undoubtedly a superstar. All he needed was a little fire, right? A little fuel to his fire right there. And I think those combination of everything you just said gave him the life, the rejuvenation back in his game. And he looks fantastic. And I think right now where it's like, hey man, we're 3-1 right now in a series. We're looking good. I think he knows he's going to the finals, right? At least that's in his mind right now. And that's going to be interesting. So again, if we had to recalibrate again, because I fucked up, I shit the bed. I thought it was going to be Denver Nets. Ridiculously wrong on that. But are we gonna say it's gonna be Phoenix Bucks, and who's gonna take it all now? Let's just make a.
I don't really know what's going to happen in the Hawks Bucks. I mean, yeah, stats wise, paper wise, it looks like the Bucks will win that series. But stats wise, paper wise, the Hawks weren't supposed to beat the Sixers. So
Yeah, and stats wise, paper wise, the Nets were supposed to be there, right?
right,
They had the team.
The Hawks, the Sixers were a higher seed than the Bucks. So
Yeah,
I really don't know what to expect out of this yet. But then again, the Bucks also have two-time MVP Giannis, so that's really hard to bet against that guy. But we'll see.
Can you pronounce his last name, or do you just call him Giannis?
Antetokounmpo.
It's a hard one.
So it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
He's Greek,
Antetokounmpo.
correct?
And the reason, yeah, he is Greek, and he has a brother too. And his brother plays soccer.
Is he also
soccer.
like close to 7 feet tall, or is
he's very tall?
That's
Giannis,
interesting for a soccer player. Usually soccer players are short. They're kind of like jockeys, you know.
Giannis
What I mean?
was a soccer player until he started growing up, and then he got into basketball late in his like teenage years. How about that? It's story time.
I had no idea.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense as to how agile and how good his footwork is when he's running up and down the court for a guy that's 6'10", 6'11", whatever he is. And he's very, very agile for a big man. I think that's his soccer background.
Let's just say this so we can get something on record and record at the same time. Did you like that? But if the Bucks win versus the Hawks, who do you have winning between the Suns and the Bucks?
The Suns. I don't think there's a team left that can beat the Suns.
No hesitation. So basically, your forecast now is Suns take everything regardless of who wins on the East.
I thought the only team that could really beat the Suns there was two. I thought the Nets could do it.
I thought Denver could do it too. Yeah, but before I saw that little 4-0
I thought it was Utah. Utah and New Jersey, Brooklyn, are the two teams that I thought that could beat the Suns. I don't think that any of these teams left could beat them. I just think they're too young, they're too good, they're too fast, they're too balanced, and they're led by a guy that's just leading them. So we'll see. I mean, I might be totally full of shit, but I really think the Suns are going to win their first championship this year, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, take that, Charles Barkley. I have nothing against Chuck, you know what I mean?
And Phoenix could use it, dude. It's like 130 degrees over there.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of which, total sidebar, but I was talking to my brother the other day. It's like 115 degrees today or tomorrow or something like that in Portland, Oregon. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I saw they were breaking records.
Yeah, they're getting the same like apocalyptic type heat wave that other parts of the country were a few days ago. But man, oh man, they are not used to it up there. And it's super, super humid. But yeah, it's just a walk in the park, just every, a normal day in Phoenix as your, sneaker soles are melting to the street top when you're walking around. You know what I mean? So goddamn. Yeah, that city could sure use a shot in the arm with a championship. I agree 100%. But well, you heard it here first, folks. Bob has the Suns winning it all this year.
Yeah, so. and hopefully they can stay true and get that handled because that just sounds fun.
It does. It does sound really fun. Oh, there is a stash party going on.
We love a good stash party around here.
Yes, we do. Don't mind us, guys. We're just going to get in there and get our 30-something cents of Walmart stock real quick.
That's right. That's how we do it.
High rollers, me and Bob. But pivoting a little bit here, something I guess a little bit more sobering, a little bit more somber here. I'm sure you've seen it, Bob. The Delta Airlines variant of COVID-19 is now the dominant strain across the world. I'm pretty sure that's fact now. At least it was the dominant strain in the UK, and I think it's the majority of new cases of COVID now in the United States are also this Delta strain that originated in India recently with all the craziness going on there. I'll tell you what, not to freak anybody out, because I think everything's going to be okay, especially in this country, because we do have extremely high levels of vaccination rates opposed to other just poorer third world countries on a whole, right? But it did, to me, highlight the importance of doing something if you're not fully vaccinated. I'm not going to say that you need to go get the vaccine if you just don't believe in it here, but it seems that the countries that have higher rates of vaccination, fully vaccinated people, are not seeing the doom and gloom kind of spikes that other people are. And here in the United States, where we have the lowest vaccination rates, Missouri is seeing the highest spikes in cases, and they're seeing them in the 12 to 20 something year old group, basically the group that's just not vaccinated as much on a whole throughout the United States.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Bob?
Well, I mean, I'm pro-vax. Really, with any disease that there's a treatment for, in general, I'm a pro-vaxxer with HPV. I mean, I'm a pro-vaxxer with everything. I believe
Well, you take it in the ass. I mean, you not only like am a
I handle
pro-vaxxer.
my injections. Okay,
With
even
a
if it's from a
smile.
gay raider.
And boy, does it go down nicely.
It does. It oozes down the throat. Almost got a spit take there. Nice. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame that I personally, I just think that it's a shame that somehow to get the vaccine or not got the vaccine got attached to conservative or liberalism. I really think it's a shame that got attached and it got political, and that's just weird to me. It always has been from the very beginning. I've never seen this before where a vaccine had to do with who you voted for. I don't get it, especially since the guy that like helped get the vaccine created was a conservative that everyone like doesn't want his vaccine, or I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what the story is there, but I will go ahead and say, I do encourage people to get the vaccine. As someone that just got out of biology, I'm no expert in the field or whatever, but I at least know how, proteins work and RNA work. And I did just, get an A in that class. But beyond all of that, as long as there's nothing with the spike protein that we're using to vaccinate ourselves against that would potentially be very, very helpful, i.e. like another introduction of something to cure something else that's even worse in the future. But there's nothing like that's a necessity of human life now that uses that spike protein that would hurt us now. They made sure before they went after that. So to break it down in IT world, right, we call it unique identifiers, right? It's how you do your multi-factor authentication and stuff. We find a unique identifier, and then we try to encrypt that and use that as the thing that you get your access and all that through. But they're using this spike protein as a unique identifier, right? And that's how they're doing it. And so far, all the variants have that unique identifier. So it helps against them. Now, I'm sure if this thing keeps multiplying and what is that, mutating, and then eventually it's going to use a different spike protein, and then the vaccine won't work against it. So the thing that we're in a race against time with all these variants is, when will they mutate away from the spike protein that everyone's vaccinated against? And then we're going to be starting over. So it's kind of a, let's all get vaccinated as much as we possibly can, unless it's like against your religion or something, then so that we can try to fight this and move past this, because I'm really tired of hearing the word COVID anymore.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, man. But I agree with you. This was something that I think we may have spoke about. I know I spoke about it with Jamie a long time ago. Even when I started to realize, and I'm not going to say the wrong thing here, like I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the coronavirus, but still, it's got a pretty high win rate when it comes to people surviving, opposed to, say, the bubonic plague or Ebola virus, right? It just does. But at the same time, my concern was, and it was what pushed me to try to get vaccinated so quickly when I started realizing there's more and more variants popping up, is by nature of viruses, they're going to try to live just like any other human organism, just like any other living organism. So as it tries to live, there's going to be the potential, and it will happen, that it will continue to mutate to try to find a better scenario to stay alive. And that's not always going to bode well for us. So as people dick around and say they're not going to get vaccinated because we don't want to be microchipped by fucking Bill Gates, like that makes any fucking sense anyways. You know what I mean? Like, how does that make any sense? First of all, we don't even know how things are fucking propelling weird in the sky against like modern fucking propulsion, but yet somehow we're liquefying microchips and putting them through needles and stuff like that. Like, wow. But you see what I'm saying though, as people
Well,
are
look, you see how my screwdriver now sticks to my skin?
fucking dumb as shit. But hey, these are also people that believe that the earth is flat. But no, I jest, but I say people are dicking around, and this thing is gaining momentum to potentially be more harmful, more deadly, and work around our vaccines, like you just said, basically. And then we are at square one again, trying to fight a different way of, a different way of it attacking us. So it's no good, man. But it's no coincidence that a place like India, with a extremely high level of poor people versus a very small group of elite rich people, it's run rampant there and like destroyed that country to a certain degree because they can't afford the vaccine, right? A lot of places there. So here we are again, dicking around. People aren't vaccinated, and now all of a sudden it's like Italy, April 2020 all over again in some of those countries. You know what I mean? It's craziness.
Yeah, and I did read the article that you sent me earlier about Rand Paul, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Saying that I think it was $600 million, right? $600 million. Well, no, 600,000. It was
600,000. There was like so many million that was dispersed over every lab that was a participant, and what the Wuhan virology lab or whatever got was a touch over $500,000.
So basically the deal is that Rand Paul is 100% convinced that the virus came out of the Wuhan lab, right? 100%. And he says, well, we appropriated $600,000 last year to the Wuhan lab to help with virology stuff. Did we pay to get this virus created that leaked out of the lab, accident or on purpose or however, doesn't fucking matter? Did we actually like help fund the creation of this monster is the question that he's asking. And then now he's saying that let's stop funding to the Wuhan lab in general, and just, and rightfully so.
I think it's a reasonable question.
I think the cart may be a touch before the horse, but I think we should definitely put a hold on any further funding until we have an answer to that. I do agree with what he's saying, because if we did inherently fund the creation of this virus, even if it was the money didn't go directly to it and it went somewhere else to help the facility that actually did it, we should still then there should be some sort of punitive damage for this facility, if not just have that fucking thing shut down until they can prove that they can handle like certain viruses. And this isn't like I don't think necessarily a conservative belief. I mean,
there you go again. I love it. He's in mid rant too. That's perfect. So again, people in podcast land, Bob's background now is a picture of aging Jon Stewart screaming and yelling on the Colbert Show about how obvious it is that the coronavirus came from a lab, whether or not it was leaked mistakenly or purposely. That's neither here nor there. He's pretty adamant about it right now. He's very passionate.
Yeah, and I would love to play the rant. I just don't know.
We can't.
I don't know if we can or not.
We're not Rogan. We can't do that. We can't do that kind of stuff. Get away with it.
Basically, he's just saying, it's the coronavirus came from Wuhan because from them working on viruses or whatever, and because the lab in Wuhan is literally called the Wuhan coronavirus
lab. Here's the interesting to me. We both listened and did a little bit of research on there's conspiracies here, right? But then some of the what was called batshit crazy conspiracies like 10, 12 months ago or whatever seem very, very feasible and realistic now to a certain extent. And here's what I'll just say as what I believe and what I think. I think to me, it's very apparent that this virus did not come from a wet market or something ridiculous like that. I think it did come from the Wuhan lab. The big question mark, though, is did it just get out by accident, which totally makes sense. I think that probably makes more sense than anything. Or was it maliciously let out by the CCP, basically to just go crazy over its own people and the rest of the world? Like they could possibly track the progress of a virus they let out. That to me doesn't have a lot of credence, but still it's up in the air. And from what we've read too, it looks like all hypotheses are still in play here. They haven't ruled out anything. And I think the biggest thing is we're talking about the communist, like the Communist Party of China actually being truthful. And from what I understand, we can't rule out or confirm a lot of things because we don't have a lot of information. And I think that's going to stay like that. So
yeah, we'll definitely never have the information because they don't owe it to anybody. And it doesn't give them any sort of advantageous position by telling the truth to anybody. So they won't, and they'll never give the information. And the information's probably doesn't even exist anymore because it's probably been destroyed. Yeah, and if there's anybody in the world, any government in the world that would be willing to sacrifice their own people to diminish America's economy and financial and political position in the world and cause turmoil and take advantage of the political climate in America right now, there's two countries that immediately stand out in my mind that would do that to their own people. That's Russia and China. Both of them have a lot to gain by us taking a step back politically, with unity with our own people, with this divisiveness, and financially. Those are the two countries that would gain the most.
I would say maybe like Japan 70 years ago, just because of kamikaze pilots and how that was a thing. It kind of rang true to me. There was some parallels there, but you're absolutely right. That's not the case anymore. And yeah, that is the thing. And that's why it can't be ruled out. It cannot be ruled out that this was done maliciously. In fact, I think I told you, we were chatting about this the other day, that somebody I know, that's all I'm going to say, that's kind of plugged into the virology, pharmaceutical world or what have you, told me that there has been some theoretical experimentation done, not only on, was it gain of function research, where basically you're trying to make pathogens stronger and more transmittable and deadlier to humans, but there's also been talk of, can they make that race specific, because there's some very nuanced differences in different races, right? Where they could literally engineer viruses to kill certain races and to not harm other races based off of those subtle differences. So there is that in play. That is a possibility. It's a very far-reaching possibility opposed to other more realistic things, but still, we can't rule out anything because, again, we're getting nothing from the Chinese Communist Party, which is
as per usual.
Yeah, as per usual.
That's typical for them. Yeah, and it's more than likely, it's overwhelmingly more than likely that the virus came out of the lab. It's just overwhelmingly. And the big question is, did China do it on purpose or not? Was this let out, or did it just slip out? It makes sense that it slipped out, and it probably slipped out.
Just like a gay raider, you know what I mean?
Oh, they never slip out until they're finished with you. They got vice grips for hands. I mean, the trick. So, but the point is China has been escalating their intentions towards the U.S. in general.
I think it's clear as day what their intentions are too. They want to topple us as the economic power of the world, and they don't want to just leave us in second place. They want to burn us to the ground. Right. Metaphorically, you know what I mean? So,
right. I mean, that whole continent east of Europe wants us out of the picture.
Yeah.
It just does. So much that Australia is ramping up their military funding to help in case incursions in the Southeast Pacific are needed, because they're allies with the U.S. from China.
Always have loved Aussies myself. You know what I mean? So shout out to all the Australians out there and kangaroos.
Me too. They don't have any guns, but they do have the worst spiders and snakes. So they got that going for them. But
very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big question is, there could be a lot to gain if this is on purpose. I
Yeah.
mean, look at what's happened to the global economy. Look at what's happened to the U.S. economy. Look what's happened to the U.S. Political climate.
Well,
The divisiveness has gotten even worse since the coronavirus has come out.
let's go really far-fetched here, but still has some feasibility to it, right? Trump becomes president 2016, 2017. He starts playing hardball with China. It's not, and let's just face it, compared to the Obama years or whatever, Trump really fucking took it to the Chinese.
Like enacting tariffs. There's that tariff war.
Yeah. Like he is a big reason, I'm sure, that at least the Chinese Communist Party, and I have to keep saying that though, because the CCP is much different from the Chinese people. Just so everybody knows that.
Yeah,
I love Chinese people. The CCP can go suck my dick. That's the other thing. Want to make that very, very, very important distinction here is there's Chinese people and then there's the CCP. But let's just again kick this around. Trump starts pushing hard on China. All of a sudden, as Trump is poised, as we've talked about before, regardless of where you're at and on the political aisle, Trump was fucking poised to win a second term. It just was. If the economy would have kept going the way it was and there was no pandemic, he would have ran strictly on all the jobs, the economy, gas prices, whatever it was. I think he slides in easily for a second term if the pandemic never happens. But it does. And where does it come from? China, right? So it seems like perfect timing for something like this to happen. Now, again, on the flip side, as I say this craziness, how would China be able to know that the trajectory and the pathway of the virus would do exactly what it did? And how would they know it wouldn't blow up in their face? But attributing to what you said too, maybe they don't give a fuck. Hey, we got to break a few eggs to kill the fucking U.S. omelet. You know what I mean?
Very few countries locked down like China did. China had soldiers in the streets.
Yeah.
When their shit got locked down, and they locked it down and quarantined towns off with military. And the only other country I know that did it like that was the Philippines. The Philippines would like literally shoot people after.
I don't know why I just laughed at that. I'm a horrible person. But that's okay.
So China locked it down like that. So that's why I'm like, maybe they did let it out, just knowing that a few of our people are going to die, but we'll just lock it down and contain it. And that'll be that. And we'll see how the rest of the country deals with this shit.
Exactly.
The rest of the world deals with
collateral damage to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's not going to be me because I know what's going on. So I'm going to get my bunker right away and put on my blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I could see that as a possibility, but I think more in the good person in me says, you know what? They were doing some fucked up, very controversial research. If anybody doesn't know much about gain of function research on viruses too, I feel like we should shed a little bit of light on that. But essentially it's where you, and I'm going to be kind of a layman about this, but it's where you poke and prod at viruses, try to make them more transmittable, more deadly, so you can in turn combat them in the future with vaccines and other things.
And make the virus as nasty as you can, and then make the vaccine for that. And then everything underneath it is then covered.
Yeah. It's like trickle down economics. You know what I mean? So it totally makes sense. But my point is, there is a big faction of people that are all about this and equally on the other side that are highly against it. It's very controversial because here's the thing, and I'm sure you guys can see this, but if you make more deadlier viruses just for shits and giggles, you're doing just that. You're making something more deadly that can potentially kill everybody in the world. If you don't do that, you maybe or may not, who knows, but you may not have the potential to ever see a virus like that because it won't be manipulated, right?
I would say this on the other side of that. There's been a few countries in the world that have been playing around with bioweapons and smallpox engineering for warfare and all this other shit.
Anthrax.
And smallpox has never fucking recirculated the globe. So I'm just going to, I mean, there are people that deal with viruses and they're really nasty and they don't ever have incidents, so it is kind of odd. Now, I did see that the Wuhan facility was fairly new.
And maybe not really qualified to handle what they had to handle.
And it was China's first level of viral institute to reach this kind of security to handle this type of deadly viruses, and it could have slipped out because the protocols and practices just aren't there yet for them. And
well, it could be as simple as this. you've seen this on movies too and everything, where you have that like plexiglass thing and you put your hands in those fucking big ass oven mitts or whatever so you can play with shit. That happens. Homie fucking like breaks a little, the guy just a technician too, right? Again, maybe he's like a college student or something like that. He like breaks something, airborne or whatever, gets on his finger. He goes fucking leaves work or whatever, and then boom, bam, you know what I mean? Goes to the wet market, gets himself a fucking octopus, and then passes it on to the chick next to him.
Next thing you know, the Stars team's at the fucking mansion.
Right? Seriously. So that seems more feasible to me, but that goes back to, here's the other really interesting thing about gain of function, right? The Obama administration. I don't know if it was Obama or somebody else in there, but they're like, hey, what's this gain of function shit going on here? I was like, oh, we take super deadly viruses and make them even more deadly and just more transmittable and fuck around with them to see how we can combat them. That sounds like there might be some pretty hardcore dangers from doing something like that. Why don't we go ahead and put a hard fucking pause on all this? And 13 other countries, I think, chimed into like, yeah. I think we need to like pause real quick on this. Everybody just stop till we can fully analyze all the risks associated with this to see if it's fucking worth it at the end of the day. Like, because this is fucking scary. This is like taking the bubonic plague and saying, you know what, let's make a super duper bubonic plague and turn it loose on these fucking things in a controlled area and see what happens, right? I can see why people like raise the red flag with, hold on a second, pause. And then this was 2014. All of a sudden, 2017, again, the ban on these is lifted, and there's some super exceptional kind of language in there about who can do what now or what have you. Which I think, again, if you go back to what other people have said, it's that Fauci and his team and who he works for had that re-engage and had people restart everything during the craziness that was the Trump administration in the first place, because that was when he was up and running, was early 2017. So there's that as well. So this was something that was flagged by the U.S. White House back in 2014, along with a lot of other first world countries. And then all of a sudden they're just doing it again. So it even says to me, like, a lot of people saw that this was maybe a little too risky for the payout, but here we are, right? And then it starts back up months later. Oh, we got coronavirus, global pandemic, first one in 100 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems awfully
coincidental.
Yeah, convenient, coincidental. So, well, I do think that we're about out of time. I think that we need to get offline, mix up another couple of gay raiders, and take some nice pictures and post it for the good stiffies out there.
Are you talking about the drink, or do you want me to come over?
The recipe, the drink, the come over.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, no, you're absolutely right. We are running low on time. And you know what? For some of you guys out there, you're probably like, wait a minute. Their show's like usually like another 45 minutes long or something like that. We are consciously shortening things down for you out there that have attention spans in nanoseconds. So you're welcome. You know what I mean?
What's that?
Exactly my point. Guys, hey, thanks for joining us this week. We're going to be back at it again next week. And of course, hitting the usuals real quick here. Check out us, the YouTube channel. There's definitely some comical shit going on, especially Bob. He kind of takes the lead on that. Like and subscribe. Check us out on the podcast platforms. Patreon, still rocking and rolling. You want to get out there and help us out. We've been getting more traction there, which actually is really exciting, because the more that we get from everybody that loves listening, the better the content will be. So Bob, unless you got anything else to add, let's just hang it up. Let's go get fucking tipsy and enjoy the rest of our weekend. What do you say?
Yeah, the momentum's been great. Let's keep up the good work, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.